All right. So I hope everybody. I asked Travis to send out a zip file that has this presentation and it has some other stuff in it. If we were going to do this at in the shop, the idea was to go through this for for about an hour, and then of talking, and then spend like 30 minutes designing a wine box, and then spend the last 30 minutes uh, burning it. And we were going to have like 4 or 6 people. I don't remember what Susan said.
Hey, Alan, quick question. Is there a microphone that you can bring closer to you? Because you're not very easy to hear.
How about that?
Everybody, does that sound better? Okay.
All right.
Also, did you expect me to have sent out a file?
Yeah, that zip file I sent you yesterday.
Okay, folks, nobody has received it because Travis didn't send it.
That's okay. We'll send it out afterwards because it doesn't really matter right now because I'm going to show you everything that's on that file on the screen. Because we're gonna walk through this and build a wine box without and doing a couple other things without actually burning anything this time.
Okay, let me just ask, can people hear him okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I can
All
hear
right,
you.
maybe it's just me then. Okay, sorry, Alan, go ahead.
Okay.
Getting old.
That's Travis. Oh, excuse me. All right, so here's the presentation. Let's see if we can bring it up. All right, can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not a PowerPoint god. So it's black and white, and you get what you get. So I got to figure out how to get my there. So what we're going to go over tonight is software. A little bit of Lightburn, or a lot of Lightburn, and a little bit of Inkscape. And the reason I go use Inkscape will be the first part of this is the PDF file conversion because Lightburn still doesn't have hasn't caught up with Inkscape on its PDF file conversion. And so I'm gonna show you how to do that in Lightburn or in Inkscape. It's real fast. It's real easy. We'll go through that. Then we're going to go into some Lightburn buttons. We're going to convert a Jpeg file to a Lightburn vector file. We're going to learn how to clean it up a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the wine box and how to use different features inside Lightburn to make the wine box and graphics on it burn faster or more efficient. I'm not sure how you want to say it, but we'll get there. That's what the burn time is. And then the last one is resources. And most of the resources I have, I think, are on the digital SIG webpage also. But if they're not, I'll make sure that Travis and I can work on updating those and getting it working right. So, software, 2 different packages. Inkscape is free. It works with a Rudy controller. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't like it as well as I like Lightburn. The biggest thing is we have better forums with Lightburn. At least I believe we do. And then, but Inkscape has 2 or 3 features that's just ahead of because it's been around longer. Than Lightburn, but the one that I use it for more than anything is file conversion. It will suck in almost any kind of file and output an SVG file, and then you can take that file into Lightburn and do whatever you want, whatever you're going to do with it. So I'm going to bring up Inkscape and show you how that, as soon as I figure out how to change screens here, up here. Share. Here. Can you see, what do you guys see right now?
Inkscape.
Okay, cool. So on Inkscape, it's just like Lightburn. You go in, file, open. So we're gonna go down here, these exercise files. So there's a couple of PDF files here and a whole bunch of JPEGs and things. So first we're going to take a PDF file. Now these are, I got to put my plug in because Travis will yell at me if I don't get a plug in because 90% of my patterns are scroll saw patterns. So this is a Steve Good scroll saw pattern, but you can see in the middle of the screen, see if I can't make that any larger, but this is the import screen. It tells you what page you're on. Can you see my pointer on my screen?
Yes.
Okay. It tells you what page you're on. So this is a multi-page. It's a 5-page PDF. So that's the front page. Whoop. And these buttons on Inkscape for some reason are really touchy. So that's the second page. It doesn't mean anything to us. So the third page of all of Steve's stuff, the first 2 pages are just advertisement, in my opinion. But this is what it's what the finished project would look like. It's called an infinity heart. So you go to the 4th page, and it's got some more stuff. 5th page is now here is your pattern. It's a scroll saw pattern, but we're going to make it into a Inkscape pattern, and then we're going to make it into a Lightburn pattern. So there it is. You're on page 5. Hit OK, and it went away. At least when you guys were up there. I think it came back. Can you still see the Inkscape with a heart on it? Okay. So that's it. It's there. Now all you have to do is go over to File, save a copy, infinity heart. It goes back to the same thing. It automatically saves as an SVG file. I'm pointing with my finger that you can't see. So I have to use my cursor. So you save it, and now you have an SVG file. So,
Alan,
yes.
I think one of the reasons that you told me you wanted to do this portion was because currently Lightburn only imports the first page of any PDF. And while he has ambitions, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll show you that when we go back to Lightburn. We'll open the same file, and you'll see what happens in Lightburn. But the cool thing about this is, now I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. Now I can go to import, okay? Instead of open, I'm going to import. And I can either go back to the same file, which would sort of look weird, but we can do it. Or I can go to this honeybee file, which is just another PDF. All right. We go through the same steps. And we're going to take this honeybee right here, and we're going to import it into the picture. So now I have 2 PDFs. I've taken a file from, or a picture from both PDFs. I'm going to save that as infinity heart. Oops, I got to clean my desk up here. And B. All right. So that saved that back in the same file. Now I've got an SVG file, and I can pull in as many more pages. I can do it from multiple PDFs, or if the PDF has 10 pages of pattern because it's multi-layer or something like that, I can just keep adding into this one file, and it just keeps showing up. So now, though, I'm going to we're going to close Inkscape, because that's really the only thing I needed to show you on Inkscape. It does this, it does it really good, and it does multiple pages so that you can get big things in. So now, screen sharing is stopped because I closed the program. Okay. All right. Now we've opened up Lightburn again. We're going to go back into that same file folder. And we're going to go down to the corner of the Lightburn file. You don't see it because it's not a Lightburn file. You got to go down to the lower right-hand corner, tell it to pick in all the other files that it can work with. And look, there's your infinity, your heart infinity with a B. So we're going to open that. There's text in there that's not supported. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It goes away. So now there's your SVG file. There's your what you brought in from Lightburn. It is all grouped together. So Travis always shows everybody when we do the our Lightburn classes up here for group and ungroup, but the speedo keys are right here. The group of people and the ungroup of people, or the single person. So we're going to ungroup it. So we just have this B. Now we're going to put the B on the heart. So to put the B on the heart, you got to make it smaller. So we're going to come over here. So these are some of these are just fast keys. You want to make sure when you're making something smaller that this lock is locked, because if you don't, well, we'll unlock it. We'll see what happens. So now we want to make the height 100 millimeters. All right. Oh no, now we have a wasp. All right. So your favorite get out of jail free card on Microsoft, any kind of product, is Control Z. Oh look, it went right back to where it was. It will save your butt all the time. So make sure this is locked. Now go in here, and I only want it to be 100 millimeters. And proportionally it went down, both height and width. So now I can just go over here and I can put it over here. I can grab this, make it go like this if I want to have it flying up. So I can do this. So when I get through cutting all of this, I can put this on top of the heart.
Alan?
Sir?
What is the message that someone you care for is supposed to take from you giving them an infinity heart with a wasp on it?
Because those are two files I had.
Okay, no message there? Okay, good
No,
enough.
there's no message there.
Hey, Jen has a question she'd like to ask.
Okay.
Alan, is there a difference whenever because you went to save a copy before, is there a difference between save a copy and save as?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if it mattered which one you chose, or if it doesn't matter, just save as or save a copy.
I think that's only a Inkscape thing, and I don't know. I've never played with it and saw what the difference was. So
okay.
So now we've got a small bee.
I gotta say it's a honeybee, not a wasp.
It's a honeybee now, but if you make it really skinny and long, it looks like a wasp. So over here on the right hand side and on our layers and cuts, Travis goes over this in our basic class, but remember it cuts from the top down. So it's going to cut this, and my laser, a cut, is speed 15, power 15. That's my standard cut there. And this one is wrong. I don't know where this one came from. So this should be 25. And so a lot of my patterns are still on my old settings from when I had my old tube in. But you always want to scribe your line or etch your line before you cut, because if you cut, it may pop out your if you're doing plywood, especially the 3mm plywood, sometimes it'll warp and pop out when it gets hot, and then that may throw off your etching or line. So you always want to do those first. So the red is a line, and that's just to show the over here, just to continue the lines over so it doesn't cut through.
Hey, Alan, those lines that are red, are you setting those for scoring lines?
Yes. So
Okay,
they're
got it.
set at, they're set at a speed of 300 at 25.
Got it.
So that's just going to score these red lines here and here. That's what that's going to, so it just looks like the infinity symbol continues to work around the heart that way. I'm looking at my notes. Hang on just a second.
Alan, could you comment again real quickly how you converted those segments of line to red, to the red layer?
So I didn't. They came in this way from Travis's, or from Steve's patterns.
Okay,
But I can show you how to do that. So if they all come in looking like this, they're black, right?
right.
So, and you have to look. So this thing is not all grouped together. So just different shapes are grouped. All right. So you just have to go. The only ones that are actually grouped are the ones that are red, which are really weird. We're going to ungroup those. All right. So now I want to take that segment and make it red. That segment, make it red.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Alan, Jerry has a question for you.
Sure, Jerry, go.
You mentioning power and its percentage. What laser are we talking about here?
So I have a Frankenstein laser because I built it after I blew up my tube, I rebuilt it and made it bigger and better, just like Tim the Tool Time Tailor. And I put a V8 engine and a lawnmower. So my 50-watt laser from China, which is really only about a 45-watt laser, is now a pure 60-watt laser because I bought a really good tube. Well, I bought a tube that was from the U.S. It's guaranteed to be 60 watts. I put a bigger power supply in it, more air, more this, more that, more water. So it's actually a 60-watt laser. But my power supply is a 100-watt power supply. So that throws off the power settings because the 100-watt power supply thinks it's feeding a 100-watt tube. So my 15 here is probably, for power, is probably a legitimate 30, 30%.
Just a quick sidebar for Jerry. If you were to go to the SDFWA.org website, you'll see the upcoming events, but at the bottom of that list is prior events. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did a tour of 3 lasers. One was Alan's, one was Randy's, and one was Mark's. And in that tour, Alan showed us all his upgrades and talked about his system. So you can go to the website and you can actually see his laser and get a tour of it. We even include the timestamps on where you can jump to see each of the person's lasers. So if you are curious, that's where you can go actually see that laser and see the upgrades.
Yeah, I was mostly curious on how his power settings reflect what the shop has.
Ah, right, I got it.
You know, so I've had my old one before I blew my laser up and after I blew my laser up. And when I go to the shop, I just don't even, I don't even think about it. I sit down and the first thing I do is throw a scrap piece of wood in there and do a test burn. And then I know I have to readjust all of my settings to that. And I tried for a while having a separate directory on my thumb drive that Travis so loves with hundreds of gigabytes worth of stuff. I had a separate directory for the shop's laser. And so I go, well, cool. I got it set up for, you know, so much percent at so many speed for cutting 1/8 inch. And every time I go back, it changes. So, you know, it's been too long in between laser maintenances, or the table's a little out of whack, or I don't know, it's the 3rd day of the week, something. So I quit trying at all to say this setting works. And as soon as I sit down at whichever laser, the green or the blue one, I run a test cut. And then I know where to set my power settings on for my whatever I'm cutting that day.
And not just any scrap wood. but scrap wood of the same material as your project.
Yeah, you can't just pick up something, even Baltic birch.
Yes.
If I buy Baltic birch from Strata, I think that's where I get it. Randy, is that right? Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Or I get it from TH&H, or I find a piece laying in the shop. There's differences in the glue on those different companies because they buy them from different wood people, and it goes through at different powers. And especially if you go to Home Depot and buy that 1/8" stuff they have there, whatever we were using in the beginning, that stuff's made. I don't know. I think they put lead in the glue or something on that because you just can't. It takes a lot of power to burn through that plywood. So, so going back to this, we're going to go through a couple more buttons here on this. So you see here, there's a lot of different pieces on this infinity heart. Well, if I just grab it and move it, oh my gosh, now I've got a Frito Bandito looking thing, and I got something that looks like a 60s wild hair guy over here. But my Control Z gets me back. Okay. I like to glue things together. So you can either do that by grouping like this. All right. And then when you drag it, well, let's go ahead and group everything here. I think that's got it all. Whoop, nope. See, there's one right here that's not grouped. Group that. So now when I grab it and I drag it, oh wait, the red stuff wasn't grouped either. So, but you see what I'm saying? There's different ways to do it. Or we're going to see if this works. You can use the binary tools over here on the side. And we're going to see what happens here. Oh, we got one more. Okay. And join it all together. Now, it's not grouped. If you look up here, it's not grouped. I say that, no, it isn't. But it's all one piece. No, it is. It didn't group it. It stayed as a single piece, so it didn't like that. Well, anyway, we'll make another one here. So if you got you don't want this to be three cuts on this box. You don't want to cut 3 boxes. You want to cut one piece. So if you highlight all of them together, go over to this binary and now you have one piece, not 3 boxes. And you can still, the cool thing about this, you can still use the Control Z and go back if you screw up. Okay. These buttons over here on this side, the and, the or, the, I don't know what this is, cut, and the, I guess it's like
It's kind of the intersection.
Yeah, intersection. So that's what it says. If you put your cursor over it and wait just a second, it'll tell you. So that's an intersection. This is a subtract one shut from another. This is, come on, union of 2 shapes and weld the shapes together. I use these 4 buttons right here all the time when I'm making patterns. I pull pictures from the internet and do whatever I want, or when I use Steve Good's patterns. Let's get rid of these buttons here. So let's, well, we're going to, so save is a good button up here, the gold disk. So we're going to save this. Now we're going to save it as a different file. We're just going to call it B, because we're going to use a couple other buttons here. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the infinity thing. And remember, if you start at the bottom right and you go up, anything that you touch or partially touch, it collects. If you start from the top right or the top left, excuse me, only the things that are totally connected or totally inside that red box will be connected. So I usually use the bottom right up to get rid of, to do things. So let's take our B that's really a B. Let's use the next set of buttons down here. I want a whole bunch of these, okay? But I don't want to do a control, copy, paste, 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 paste. So I'm going to use this matrix tool. Well, first I have to highlight it. Then I'm going to use this matrix tool. I'm going to pull it over here a little ways. All right. I want the spacing 1 millimeter apart, X, and 1 millimeter apart, Y. So how many of these B's do I want? Well, I want to fill up my sheet. I want to use the whole piece of plywood to do this. So, oh wait, that last one's half off. How can I fix that? Well, I can go back here and take the X spacing down by some. Well, that didn't work too well. So let's get rid of them. Now let's just grab this sucker like this and turn him like this. All right, and put him over here like that. Now we'll do it again. And we can get a whole bunch, but you see this one's still a little bit off. Let's see if we can take the X spacing down. Take it, you can take it negative and make it go where it looks like it's going inside the next blocks, because this is the box comes like this. So this guy's stinger part is going into the other guy's box. So you get more.
You're not changing the size of the image at all. You're just changing the space of in between them. And
Right.
how you're actually even overlapping their spaces.
There's right.
Okay.
So now I can do the same thing going up, but unless you have writing on here, this is my favorite thing to do. So now look at all this. So I made one more row, but look at all this dead white space right here on each one of them. So let's use another button. So we're going to use the right bottom to left top, hook that whole row, okay? Now I'm going to go up here and flip the row. So now every other row faces a different way. So now I can pull this down like this. All right. So now I've got 2 rows. Now I'm going to go and grab both of those rows. Go back to that tool again. Okay. And I'm going to go up a row. This is probably not going to work out really great, but we'll see. So now I'm going to grab this row of them, drag them down into where it almost touches. And then we're going to do this one, and we probably won't be able to get them in. See, this one's just not going to work. So you get to do something else with that top row, and it's called the delete button. There we go. But we ended up with, what is that, 24 of those things on one sheet, 112 by 22 sheet. Not a bad run. So how long is that run going to take us to do? How long am I going to have to sit and look at, twiddle my thumbs while my laser's burning or whatever? Well, let's go up here and use this screening button. Sometimes these have lots of overlapping lines when they come in off of PDFs. And I'll show you how to fix that. Actually, that's a 301 teaser button. Travis, I just found this the other day. So this would take 42 minutes to cut these 24 honeybees. But I'm gonna give you the laser 301 class.
Hey, Alan, I need to set people up on this. Guys, this is remarkable, okay? You really want to watch this portion here.
So that took 42 minutes to cut that. Now we're going to go up here to edit. And where did I find it? Optimize shapes. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, optimize shapes. Okay. Now, oh, it didn't like that. Oh, I remember why. First thing you have to do when you use optimize shapes is you have to take the grouping off because it won't optimize the shape of a group. So edit, optimize selected shapes. Look right here, 9,960 points on that thing. That's how many points are in the arc. So I'm going to grab this slider bar and I'm just going to yank it all the way over here. Right, and it didn't work on this one, Travis. Okay, so I'll show you guys that. I promise it works and it really optimizes.
But tell them what it does though, so at least they know why to come back for 301.
Yeah. So what happens is, if you go into one of these guys, all right, and you use we'll zoom in on just one here. Actually, let's just get rid of a bunch of this. Whoop, wrong button. There. We're gonna get rid of a lot of this here, and that way we can do. We're gonna use this other button. Now, you got one little thing in the corner and it's little bitty. This button right here that has the dotted lines around it makes whatever you have on the screen or whatever you have highlighted the size of the screen. All right. So now we're going to do this. And we're going to go over here to the node tool. So see how many nodes there are here? Basically, there's there's not 9,000 now. There's only, let's see. It'll tell us how many. Oh, there's 475. It still didn't do it. What that optimization tool does is it takes like this curve right here for the bee's butt, and there's maybe 20 nodes there. The computer optimizes that, and it'll put like maybe 10 nodes in there. So your computer, your basically the G code, if you want to call it that, the code that's generated for the computer to tell it the XY coordinates of everything is done by these nodes. And so everyone has a start point and a stop point. Then the next one has another start point and another stop point. So think about it. If you have 40,000 lines, and that means you have 80,000, you have 40,000 stops and 40,000 starts too. Actually, you have more than that. Anyway, so what it does is it optimizes that, and it'll take your file. So the file that I was working the other day with, actually it was Gary Anderson. It was the ornaments that I was doing for him. I downloaded them from some website, I don't remember where, and the ornament was 12 of the ornaments on one file was 47 megabyte file, and Lightburn was just crawling with it. So that's when I started doing the research, and I took that file that had 47,000 points in it down to like 9,000 or 4,000 points. And it took the file from 47 megabytes down to like 1.5 megabytes. And everything, the computer ran faster, Lightburn ran faster, the laser ran faster, because it knew how to make that arc instead of making a whole bunch of points to get through to that arc.
So stay tuned for next time, right?
Yeah, so I promise I'll have a file that works on my 301 class.
Hey, Alan,
Sir?
is that still grouped? If you click on it, is it still a group of groups?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, never mind.
So we can make it like that, but so now we're back to a group because we got a little group of people up here. Okay. Let me see what else. So we've done the binary add subtract. We've done matrix images. We've done grouping and ungrouping. We did zoom to frame. That's what that dotted square is up on the top. We flipped patterns using the flip buttons here. You can flip them side to side. You can flip them. Well, you can't tell if it's. Oh well, you can if you do it this way. You can flip it up to down or
Hey,
side to side.
Alan, there's a third flip there that looks like it's on a
And
different axis. Yeah, what is that about?
it don't work.
It doesn't work, okay?
I emailed Oz. So I wanted him to. I asked him if he would replace this one right here with a flip to. So this is. It looks like it flips across a 45. I wanted him to add one right here that flipped to 90 degrees. You know,
Yeah.
flip right 90 degrees. Now, so if I want to flip right 90 degrees, I have to highlight my thing and go over here and say 90, and it flips at 90 degrees. Now I use my Control Z and I get it back. Now, the other thing you need to know about this so that you can do it is a negative 90 degrees flips it the other way, flips it to counterclockwise. So if you put negative on it, it goes counterclockwise. If it's positive, it goes clockwise. Some other of my favorite tools up here on the top are, let's get rid of them, let's make that one black. There we go. All right. So we have two.
Alan,
Sir?
I had a hypothetical in my mind and I just tried it out. So could you draw or take that butterfly of yours or whatever it is, and then draw a line, just any line in any direction that you want. So just off to this, yeah, that's not going to show the point that I want. So draw another line somewhere else.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and now go ahead and select that line as well as your butterfly. Yeah,
Oh,
now
look.
use that button. So you can put it along any axis you want. So if you've got a design that happens to have a line in it and you want symmetry along that axis, then you can choose this and it will use that line as the axis on which it pivots. It was just a guess and it seemed to work, so cool.
So we're going to do this now. We're going to pull it. We got to get down here. How long did this thing go? Geez. Okay. Now let's go back up here. Now, did you see that? What happened? Let me show you what happened here. Or I had just the line selected, and then I hit my my screen tool up here, and it just brought the line in there. Where if I didn't select anything, it brings everything that I've done into view. So then I should be able to go like this and then do that. Oh, that is so cool. See, there's always a button you don't know what it really does, and you find out new things all the time.
Yeah, and it turns out that it's grayed out unless you have two selected, right? So it's just a dead button to you.
Ooh, let's confuse it. What happens if you say it doesn't take two circles don't work? You have to have a line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
thanks, Alan.
So yeah, thanks, Travis. I didn't know what that button was. Oz didn't ever come back and tell me that when I sent him a thing. He's like, oh, you have to go in and vote for the 90-degree thing on the forum, and nobody's voting for it. There's only like 10 people that were voted for it or something.
Hey, Alan, I have a question for you. If you are goofing around and you're, let's say, down in one corner of the screen and you want to recenter your whole screen, how do you change your view to the different pieces of the screen?
I just hold my my thumb wheel down and move it. So
yeah, I've done that, and it zooms in and out, but it doesn't always center the screen.
I don't know that there's a perfect center on there. I just drag it around and do what,
Okay.
So.
Alan, could you throw it off to one side? Okay, and next to your two magnifying glasses that are plus and minus on the left-hand side,
there you go.
That will take the entire bed and center it.
Got it. Thank you.
There you go. I like dragging it around better. Anyway, So, in the Lightburn classes, Travis says, "Oh, look, here's two shapes. Now we're going to line them up here, and then we're going to put them horizontally in the middle." So that puts the two circles exactly in the center of each other. Or if you're lazy like I am, you find one button that will do it. So you highlight both your things and you hit the bullseye, and it does the same thing.
Oh,
So the bullseye is a great feature for lining stuff up, but you have to want it perfectly in the center. If you just want something, I just want this, I want them to be, the centers to be aligned, but not be inside of each other. Oh, I have to hit both of them. See, now one's, they're perfectly aligned vertically. Okay. And the same thing with, you can do the same thing horizontally. If you want the bottoms lined up, if you want the tops lined up, left sides lined up, the right sides lined up, left or right. Anyway, that's
yeah,
what.
just a question. If you had chosen the B as well as the two circles and used your bullseye, does it make the concentric center for all three of them?
Yep. Watch.
Cool.
Now, the problem with that is or it's not a problem, but you have to have, if you ungroup this, here we go. This is the one.
Oh,
There we
a
go.
mess.
Yeah, you end up with, we're going to ungroup it. Now we're going to do the two circles and the B. Same thing we did when it was grouped, but now look what you got. You got all the pieces went to the middle because that's what you told it to do.
Hmm.
Okay. So that, sounds like I'm about to get some help in the garage here. All right. So next, our next thing here is we're going to get rid of this file. No, we don't want to save the B's. Don't say, well, we do want to save B's, but not those.
Alan,
Sir,
are you going to be talking a little bit about the snap functions, or is that 101?
Snap functions. What are you?
You know, snapping a line to a center line.
No, I don't use those. I mean, we can look at them. You can set up your here device settings. No, it's the other one. I always get those mixed up. Machine settings. Nope, not that one. All right. Settings. There we go. Where you snap to grid, snap to object.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's how you get to those. There's some, while we're on this page, there's some cool things on this page. And let me, you have to sort of, so the black is a cut, and in my world, that orange is a fill. Okay. If we go up here and we look at the preview, it shows you the black is, the orange is filled, and then you get just an outline over here. But Travis was playing with this the other day, and I watched his. It's like, this is really cool, and I didn't know. But if you go up here, it says filled rendering, and click that, it shows it filled on your screen. Now, there's good and bad with that. That's cool. It looks good, but you don't realize that that black circle goes underneath there, and it will cut that black circle all the way around, and then it will fill this. So I thought it was cool, and I left it on until I blew up a project because it was on. So now I went back and took it off. So there's that. That's the fill thing. That, like, was it Sam? I don't remember who was saying something about the snap to object, snap to grid. Those are just same. Those work the same as any graphics program. You get it, you draw a line and it goes to a grid, right? You put things, let things go and it goes to grid. I don't like that because I want a little more free form than that. What else? You can change all kinds of cool stuff. Your display, do you want millimeters per second or millimeters per second, inches per second? How you want the grid set up on the screen on your palette here. So there's a whole bunch of good things there, and it's all personal preference. Whatever just remember where it's at, and if you want to change something, you can. It's under edit and then settings, and we'll go back to this.
Yeah, there's also
yes, sir.
There's a quick way to do that too. If you go to your Windows menu,
my Windows menu
at the top,
up here.
Yeah,
window here.
A window, yeah. And if you notice that in the first block where it says View Style, you currently have wireframe smooth. If you go to filled smooth, you get the same result.
Oh, okay.
So this way you can toggle back and forth real readily.
But I just like this button up here better.
Yep.
So all right, so the next thing I want to go over is how to import a JPEG. Whoop, let's get rid of that. Nope. So we're start from a straight Lightburn file or a straight Lightburn palette. We're going to go in, we're going to open, and we're going to go down here to our file folder, and we're going to tell it all supported files. So in here, we see images. Let's see what kind of image. Oh, look there. We're going to drink tonight. There we go. Now, you notice it's little bitty. Okay, but the cool thing is once we vectorize this, we can make it anything we want. So you highlight the image, you go to Tools, you tell it to trace path. This one may not have been a great idea. We're going to see. I use the sketch trace tool. It seems to work better for me. And then you take this and you can do your thresholds back and forth. See, like right there, it's not going to get much of anything. This may not be a good one. It's pretty pixelated. Let me go find a different one here. That's not quite so pixelated. Oh, look, 2 wine glasses.
This is your favorite theme, man.
Yeah, what's going on?
Wine boxes.
Just enough for one.
So we highlight the box and we go back here to Tools, Trace Image.
Ooh, that looks good.
It's not going to work for me today with the sketch trace, so we're just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave the threshold at its default setting, which is 128, and say OK. And then you grab the center and pull it over, and you have a vector instead of an image.
That's great. Hey, Alan, Jerry had a question for you.
Go for it.
That's kind of are we doing millimeters per second or inches per second, or is there a standard for the shop? Or?
So we had this debate recently because when we moved over to the Autour lasers, which many of us have at this point, there is a different standard for Autour. Alan, maybe you can remember what it was. It was inches per minute or something like that. And we decided that we would confuse the heck out of ourselves if we used 2 different standards, one for CO2 lasers and one for diode lasers. So the consensus of the people who were involved in the conversation was we should stick with millimeters per second. And that way, when we say a number, everybody knows what we're talking about. So the convention that people who were involved in conversations recently concluded was, let's stick with millimeters per second.
So that's how the shop lasers will be set? No?
Yes, and that's how they are set. That's what we've all learned.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So All right, so back to this. So we got your image. So so let's see the difference here. All right. Now I've got a vector right here, and I've got an image right here that and I go up here to my preview, and the image comes out as a fill, basically. And with a lot of little, if you look out here, it's got a lot of little crap things that come with it, where the vector comes out as a perfect vector. So if I wanted to make the vector look like the image, then I take it and I do a fill, and I go back and look at that. It's a perfectly clean view of the image.
Beautiful.
Now, the other thing is, watch this. So now this thing is 2 inches tall, basically. I'm going to take it to 100 millimeters. All right. Now, let's keep going. We're going to take it to 300 millimeters. It's going to be off the scale here, but it will prove what I want. I'm going to take this one to 300. Okay. Well, it takes the white block. So I'm going to take it up so that the glasses are about the same size. So let's take it to 600. All right. Now the picture is about the same size as the vector. Now let's go preview it.
Oh,
really,
wow.
really pretty picture, right?
Oh boy.
So you can't scale a JPEG in this program. You can, but this is what you get. And so it pixelates, it just gets fuzzy and foggy, and if that's what you want, that's a good thing.
Could you turn off the show traversal moves so we can see without the red? Yeah, it looks awful.
Yeah. So so the thing is you want to take you can take any image and do this with it, and it makes it so you can, between the use of so let's do this. Let's ungroup it because it's grouped together right now. Now we're going to group, or we're not going to group, but we're going to use, those two are already filled. We're going to get rid of this thing. There. Whoop, got rid of too much. See, that Control Z saves your butt every time. There we go. Now, we're going to do just a line on the glasses, and we're going to fill the line. Okay. So it gives you a, Travis doesn't like to see the red, so we're going to, but it fills in the area and it gives you a nice graph. Now, look down here. Your total time is 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Okay. If I take this all back to a fill and do the same thing, look what my time went to.
Oh my.
So, because you got to remember, to do a fill, you're just going back and forth. You're doing this. We're gonna run it through here. It just goes like this, all the way up. So it takes quite a bit of travel, and it's only going up 0.1 millimeter X for every line. So that's a lot of fill. So now let's take this back to where it's a vector and go back and look at the time again. See, and your time is back to finish, but watch how so you're going to do the fill first. Okay. So the fill takes, out of 8 minutes and 3 seconds, the fill takes 7 minutes and 51 seconds. And the last 15 seconds, the glasses show up.
Yeah.
All right. Now, watch this. So what was it? It was 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, watch this. This is another trick I learned. I'm gonna rotate this 90 degrees. Whoop! I forgot to group it before I did that. Group it. Now I'm going to take it and rotate it 90 degrees. All right. Now see how my fill is? Instead of being really wide, it's sort of narrow. See what happens. Oh, now it made it 9 minutes. It made a liar out of me.
But you made your point. It's different amount of time based on orientation.
Yeah, it's a different amount of time, and you'll see that when we do our next piece when we go in. So that's pretty much most of the buttons. But what I want to show now is get rid of that.
Excuse me, you started all this by tracing image, right?
Yep, we traced an image. So
Wow.
you can go. So what I do is I go on the internet, go to Google, type in, what do you want to be? I want to find little girl elf, because Travis sort of put me out on this morning at our toy or our Christmas
Holiday gift sale.
Zoom meeting this morning. He said, hey, we need a little girl thing. So literally, I went to the internet, I typed in little girl elf line art. You type in line art and it gives you black and white pictures, or it gives you black and white line art instead of a picture. You don't have to deal with gray scales and all that other stuff. Literally, I sucked down that JPEG. How long did it take, Travis, before I was showing you a picture of the thing?
I barely finished the sentence.
No, that's what those, if you were here in the beginning, that's what we were showing. I'll show them again at the end. The little girl elf and little boy elf Christmas.
Hey, Alan, can I make a quick plug? For anybody who's really interested in tracing and node editing, there was a session the other day, I don't know, a week or two ago, that covered just that for Lightburn. And so if you were to go to SDFWA.org, and at the bottom of the upcoming events is a link that takes you to past events. You'll be able to see where we covered in the laser SIG node editing and tracing. And there's a little more detail in there. It's only about that. It's not nearly as wide ranging as Lightburn 201 here. But if that's something you're interested in, you can learn more in that video. It's up there to be watched.
Travis, I have a quick question on that tracing meeting that we had. You talked about all the list of commands to get the various nodes to move. Where did you get that list?
For people who were attending, there was a link I had sent. Lightburn keeps its documentation on GitHub. And so there was a particular page in GitHub that described all of the individual keys. So for instance, if you hit D, you can delete a line or delete a node. Add S and it goes smooth. So if anybody should want that, it's in that video, which is again visible from a link on the website.
So watch this. Help. Quick help and notes. Oh, look. Oh, they're not all here, but some of them are here. So it's in the help file. So if you go up to help and you can go to the online documentation, it takes you to a website.
It doesn't show us your browser, unfortunately.
Okay, well, good then, because my email came up at the same time.
However, you guys, that's how you can find it, is you can link to the GitHub from within the help area.
Yeah. So this is the line box that we were going to make in this whole exercise. And the reason I want to show this right now is, see, everything is cut. There's no fill. Everything is just a cut. It's all the same speed, 15, 15. So that's speed 15, power 15. For my laser, that's what works. All right. So let's see how hard it is to go back to a what if I do this? Stop.
Up at the top, there you go.
There we go. There we go. So let's see if I can. This is what the line box looks like, put together, finished, whatever. It's got. Oops, I forgot my thing. So what holds the bottle in? It's got a bottle here, and then it's got this piece right here. It's sort of hard to see. Anyway, it fits on 2 slides on either side, and it holds the top of the neck of the bottle, and then you just grab it and go. So that's sort of what you see. But what I want to prove, what I want to show is just
Hey,
what
Alan, before you switch, you showed us that really cool one that you were doing earlier today. Can you show them that?
I just want to see that. You mean the one I broke while I was playing with it for you guys?
Look at that thing. Show them how the wine bottle and then how you hold it. This is so cool, guys. You guys are going to want to make these things.
So the wine bottle, this collar here pushes up. The wine bottle sits down in here. Actually, you can take the collar off. Oh, it pushes down this way there. And then the collar pushes back. Get it all in. And that's what holds the bottle in. And then you can carry it.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, that's cool. Share that, Alan.
Oh, no. For you, you owe me beer already.
No, I owe you $10, remember?
Well, that and beer, I think.
Mark wants scotch.
Yeah, I'll send that file. I'll put that file to someplace so we can get it out.
Cool. Thank you.
Let me go back up here, whoop down here, share screen, back to Lightburn. Here we go. All right, we're back to Lightburn file.
Yep.
Okay, so you can see all of the cuts, wine, the little things here. Now this isn't the one that I'll send. This was a bad pattern. I don't know why. All these patterns come from Russia or Ukraine or someplace. And those people over there must not be winos like we are in the United States, because their wine bottles are a lot smaller than our wine bottles. So this whole pattern was too small. So I had to enlarge everything. So the one that you guys got will have, I'll show you in a minute, but this was to show another an idea here. So you can see everything's cut, nothing is filled. So now I want to go to, so this is wine glass bottle cut A. I'm going to go to wine glass bottle cut B. Oh wait, let's go back to A, and we didn't time it.
Hey, Alan, Jerry has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Travis's toilet paper roll, would any of your technique that speed that up, that process up of importing that?
I got like 82 toilet paper roll ones. Show you after a while. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried it on that. We can play with some of that. So, oh, here it is right here. So this takes basically we're going to say 18 minutes to cut the just a standard one of these things with no etching. All right. So now we're going to go to the next version of this, which all of the orange that you see is etching. So we'll go up here and do a preview on that. That took 32 minutes, almost 33 minutes.
How much was the first one, Alan?
18 minutes.
Okay.
So by just putting this amount of etching in, it basically doubled the amount of time. So then we'll go to C here. Now what we did with C is the orange is etching, the black is cutting out, or the orange is a fill, okay? The blue is just an etching. It's not cutting it out. It's just drawing a line there.
So scoring it?
It's scoring it, yeah. So let's look and see what happened there. 23 minutes. Okay. So that's C. I don't remember what D is. Let's see.
When you say etching, you're simply decreasing the power or increasing the speed so that it doesn't cut through, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, so this one, let's see what we're doing with this one. So orange is still fill. Red is scoring on this one, and blue is cutting out.
Interesting.
All right. So let's see what happens here. 19 minutes. So the difference between scoring, what on the last one, the blue is the blue and red on this. So just scoring and going to score and cut, it only increased it by a little over a minute. Okay. So, and then the final one. Oh, wait, this is the one I was going to give you guys for an exercise. Except it's wrong. After I got all these made, I figured out that you couldn't fit a wine bottle in this thing because it's in Europe. So
Kind of important, Alan.
I know.
I have a question on that. Can you just
Okay.
take that file and scale it up? Maybe using the circle pattern for the bottle?
So the problem is if you scale, if I go like this, let's do it this way. If I do this and scale up, what all does it scale up? Not just the outside, it scales everything.
Yes.
So all of your cuts for your 3mm Baltic birch here now become 4.2 or something, and it's sloppy. So
Right.
now I'll show you how I do that. Just because I'm a great guy, and you ask, okay?
Okay.
So if you think about it, this side is not that big a deal. The circle right here is the problem with the wine bottle, not the height, just this circle, because that's where the wine bottle fits. So let's take this piece out over here. All right. Like, so how big a circle do I really want? Well, let's see. Let's decompose this. That's a 77mm circle. So I know by measuring my wine bottles that the biggest circle I have is 88. Okay. So that's the size of the circle that I want in there. Oh, wait, it sort of goes over the edges, doesn't it? So how do you get it to not go over the edges but make everything nice? Well, you drag this down here. You drag that up there because we don't care about it anymore. Now, I take a box and I put it right here in the middle. And I go, click. Oh, I got to get rid of the box. Okay. Click the original frame. Click the box frame. Tell it to subtract one shape from the other. So now I have two halves of the box, and they're not really halves, but it doesn't really matter. I ungroup them, so now I can take either one and move it, put my circle back in here, and drag this over here someplace like this, and like this. And then I get all three shapes, and I want the centers to line up. So now the centers line up, okay? And everything's right. So now I make another box. All right, and I take that box and this box, there, and go here, and I go here.
Nice trick, Alan.
And then I go like this, and I group it, and I've got everything back together again.
Very
Now,
nice.
but that only did one piece. That's the piece up that goes right here. right? Whoop, I go that. That's the piece that goes right here. I have a piece that goes right here, which is this one. Okay, so I have to do the same thing on it, but the fingers are the same, so I can take, let go, quit, ungroup, take this piece, copy it, put it down here, rotate it 90 degrees. Oh wait, it looks just sort of like this one. Get them together, and then I delete I would go in and delete the outside of this, leave these fingers in place, and then regroup everything. So now you got the bottom, and then you just got to worry about the sides, and then you take this piece, or well, this piece, and do the same thing with the sides here. So basically, you just changed the width of the box.
Yeah, yeah. It's more elaborate than just simply scaling. I forgot about the
So
knockouts.
You could do the scaling, and I've done that before, but then you have to go back in and readjust all of these little pieces. Now, it's not quite as bad as you think, because you only have to adjust the ones on here and here, because this is just a mirror image. So you would delete this one. That would be the first thing you do.
Or buy Russian wine.
And Russian wine, there you go. So what I've done, so we're going to get out of this, and I'll show you. This is the file that's actually in the zip file that that Travis is going to send everybody. So here's another feature, and I've started using this a lot. It's called project notes. Okay.
How did you bring that up?
Oh, it come up by itself, because see, it says right here, this little checkbox, show on file open. Okay. Now, if I don't have it, I can go right up here to file and say show notes.
Oh, very nice.
And it comes up with a blank screen when you do it the first time. But this is where, and I always, when I make notes on there, I always click this box where it shows show on file open, because this is my reminder to not be stupid. Okay. See, it says L's go down. Well, that's these L's right here, and they fit right here. If they go up, you can't hold the box in, a bottle in. So I write myself notes. The red circle is 80 millimeters. So this is, Travis, remember when Gary said this morning, let's make this, or maybe it was you, I don't remember who, make an adapter to fit in there?
Oh, yeah.
So my adapter was, when I cut it, I know what size wine bottle I'm going to make it for.
Ah, got it.
So if so there's 88 that's the biggest one I found, an 88 millimeter bottle, and most of them run about 80. So what I did on this pattern when I remade it for you guys is I have a red circle, which is marked over here, no output.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I want to make this, it will make it with the biggest bottle that you can put in there in mind. If I know I'm going to give it to somebody with a bottle, and I've already bought the bottle of wine, I would probably delete the black, this black line, and then turn this red one black to cut, and then it would just have more surface area in here.
Hey, Alan, you seem to do a lot of research on wine bottle diameters. Do you empty the bottles before you measure them?
Actually, I took a micrometer to the liquor store. The guy, there's a little liquor store over in Bonsall up here, and it's the only liquor store around. So that's where, and it's the only place that carries gluten-free beer.
That's great.
So I know the guy knows me because he walks in. I walk in, he goes, "Oh, I moved the gluten-free beer over to the other side." So I walked in with this micrometer and I go, "Hey, I know this is going to sound really geekish, but I need to measure some of your wine bottles, a building bottle." But what you do is, and I guarantee you it will work 100% of the time, he looks at you sort of funny and goes, okay, whatever. So you go measure your bottles of wine, you write all this stuff down, whatever you want to do. You go home, you make that first one, not the first one because it usually dies. The first good one, you put it back in the car and you go back to that liquor store and you go, here, I used you as a guinea pig. I want you to have this wine bottle.
Sweet.
And you know what? I get head of the line privileges at COVID-19 now when I wear my mask in there, and I don't have to stand in line. He goes, oh, well, Alan, come over here. Okay.
That's great.
Actually, he says, hey, you. But so now, so I've shown you this pattern, and I've shown you what happens with different patterns on the wine box itself. Whether we etched them, whether we made a line, or what we cut them all the way through. So the idea at the class, when we were going to have it at the shop, and people were actually going to make these things, was I was going to give you this pattern, and your exercise is to import patterns into here from either so you go to import on Lightburn is here. Import. Is that it? You can use a picture, a Jpeg, or you can import these wine shapes in which were basically the same ones that were on the ones that you saw that I did. But the exercise was you have to you can put as many shapes on there or colors or purple or whatever you want, but you have to be able to start, when you punch start on the laser, it has to finish in less than 20 minutes.
Hey, Alan, why do you say was? Why don't you make this our homework for next Friday where we can do show and tell and show off what we've done?
That's fine with me. All you have to do is send out the file, Travis.
Okay.
So next Friday is canceled.
Thank you for your support, Mark.
Oh, but that was going to be let's see what else I got here. That was the bottom line of this thing was create this wine box, and by using the preview tool and whatever shapes, sizes, or pretty things you want to put on here, put them on there, but be able to burn it or preview the burn in 20 minutes or less.
Okay, so can you also document the parameters for what we're to do so that when Travis gets around to sending out the file, he can include your guidelines, and then anybody who chooses to can do it, and if they want to show their work, they can share their screen next time.
So it's slide 9 of the presentation.
Okay.
The presentation is in that zip file.
Okay.
So in the zip file that Travis is going to send out when he gets around to it is the wine box, wine glass box for class. The glass holder. Oh, I didn't show you the glass holder. I'll show you that in just a second. And the exercise files, which have a Lightburn file that says wine shapes. And that's what I just imported, was the different wine glass and the thing that said wine and all that. Or there's some Jpeg files in there that you can use what you've learned today and convert the Jpeg file to a vector image and either fill it or use line or cut it. Or you can go out onto the internet and pull down any JPEG that you want and put in there, and then size it, put it on the wine box, and then, like Travis says, we'll have Lightburn setting on your computer And next week you can show us your screen, and we can see what your design here will look like. So the wine glass holder is this piece right here.
Alan, is that the one?
Whoever's talking, their mic's cutting out.
It's Randy. Is that the one that we made longer?
Yes.
Okay.
So I shared this file with Randy, I don't know, whenever ago, a long time ago, and we found out that the length between here and here wasn't quite long enough because the wine glasses were hitting the bottle and they were sort of tilted out. So don't want any drunk wine carrying bottle glass holder people to make a mess. So this piece here, if you see, it has the hole in it and the slots here. Replaces this piece right here. So if you don't want to hold glasses, you just want to, hold a bottle of wine and give it to somebody, you use this piece. If you want to give them a bottle of wine and 2 glasses so they can go to the beach. Oh, wait, you can't sit down on the beach to drink your wine. So you have to walk and drink your wine at the same time. You can use this one. That was supposed to be a joke. Nobody laughed at it. So.
Can't take glass on the beach.
But you can buy plastic wine glasses. They fit in it just as well.
It's a bottle.
Oh, well, that's true. I don't know. You can do like my son. He buys wine in boxes. So
You make a carrier for that?
yeah, it's called string.
Hey, Alan.
Yep.
I just looked back at the mail you sent me, and I'm afraid I got focused on you wanting a list of the students, so I sent you that instead. Everybody, you should now have in your mailbox Alan's zip file with the Lightburn 201 files, so you'll have everything you need to be able to do your preparation for next week if you should choose to.
Got it. There you go. And next week, I promise, I'll figure out the node tool optimization piece too. Let's see. I'm going to show you this because Travis always laughs at me. This is my laser pattern folder, and every one of those has that many subfolders underneath each one of them. So, but I'm trying to get back to is the elf one.
Alan, I'm just afraid that if ever you lost that thing, you'd have cardiac arrest.
Oh, I've already had that.
Oh, okay, great.
And so it's backed up in the cloud. It's backed up on a secure AES 256-bit encrypted drive that's in my gun safe, and I have another copy of it in the my safety deposit box.
And Alan, you've actually given us a good chunk of this stuff. Could you tell people where we have that?
So on both of the computers, well, let me say this. I'll rephrase that. Used to, and I haven't been in the shop in like 4 months. It was on the computers for each one, the blue and the green computer. Under it said Alan's Ornaments, I think, or something like that. And there's a whole bunch of files. There's also on both those computers, it says Steve Good's scroll saw patterns or something like that, and there's over 3,000 PDFs that you can convert using Inkscape, just because those were the patterns I used today, were 2 of Steve's patterns. He does his patterns in Corel Draw, and the way he saves them in PDF, they come out as a vector really easy. Some people that have PDF scroll saw patterns they don't come out. You can't vectorize them from the PDF, and I think it's because they do it from a scanned-in picture or something like that. But so these were the elves that we were talking about this morning, and the reason that if you look, they're mirror images. I do a lot of work with coins. I call them coins. They're my business cards, but they have stupid sayings on them. And so this one flips over. So you take this one after you burn it, you pop that out and put it up here, turn it over, and turn this one over and put it down here. And then you have the front and back of both of them.
And just so people are reminded of a feature in Zoom, there's a chat button, and I've just put a link to where Alan's files are also stored in our Google folder. So you can get access to one boatload of vector files by going to the link that you'll find in the chat box. And thank you again, Alan, for sharing those with us.
Yeah, and if anybody, just like Travis opened his mouth this morning and said, if you think you need something and you can't find one, send me an email. I probably already have it. So, and I'll share.
Hey, Alan, Jerry has a question for you.
Sure, sir.
Are you selling your scroll saw?
No. Which one? I have like 5 of them.
Hey,
I have 1, 2, 3 Higners sitting in my garage and a RBI. I have 2 DeWalt's that belong to the club sitting in the club trailer. I have a Delta that I'm holding for a guy whose house burnt down and he bought the saw and doesn't have a place to put it. And a Velocipede that needs to be rebuilt, and a new Rogers pedal scroll saw that needs to be rebuilt. So I only have a couple of those.
and guys, having heard all that, you might be surprised that Alan is just recently agreed to be the leader of our laser SIG. And he's the president of the Scroll Saw Club, but he's also the leader of our laser SIG, which obviously after tonight, you know that he's super well qualified and enthusiastic to do that. But transitioning to scroll saws, I just proposed to Jim Bradbury that he take on the lead of the SIG for scroll saws. And we had a conversation just this morning about blades. You remember that one, Alan?
Yes.
All of a sudden, I've gotten this really deep appreciation for how much you guys know about what scroll saws to get, what blades to buy, where to buy them from. I propose that we have that as one of his first scroll saw SIGs. And another one might be, there's been this evolution that Sam, I think Sam's on this call, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam has gotten involved in Jim Bradbury's T lights, which I've watched evolve over the course of 3 years. And it's just a fabulous story about starting off with some hand drawings and introducing lasers, and then Sam gets involved and there's more automation and some more design ideas. That too, because it's primarily a scroll saw story, might well make a good theme for one of his upcoming scroll saw SIGs. So consider this a public service announcement that those things are coming your way.
Yeah. So here's my, when I was talking about coins, this is what I do here. So I can burn these, and I don't burn them all at once. So I use the cut select graphics feature over here, and I only do 1 row at a time. And I do what happened there? Oh, I have my box tool on. That's not good. So to do, come on. For some reason, Lightburn's deciding that there's a lot of graphic here.
Hey, Alan, people can't properly appreciate what they just saw unless they also know what's going through your mind as you're about to give someone one of those.
Oh, yeah. So these are just sort of goofy ones. At Christmas time, I had some that said something about being an elf or something. I don't remember what it was. And
But But you also think about the person you're about to give it to and what
Yeah.
might be
Oh,
the
yeah.
apropos one.
Yeah. So it takes 5 minutes to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. And then what you do is you flip them over and you take this dog one, you take this one and flip it over and put right here. And this one, flip it over and put it right here. So in 10 minutes, I have 6 of them made double-sided. And they're basically my business card. But yeah, you have to know who you're giving them to. You know, not all who wander are lost. But then I think I got rid of all the ones that were really just too risque for me to carry in my pocket. So, but it's something to have fun with, and you give these things away, and people just think they're great. You know, you walk up to somebody that's a Harry Potter fan and give them one of those, they just had a wet dream. You know, those people are, you know, the same thing with the Snoopy guy or the Tigger. My wife's a Tigger fanatic, so we have a lot of Tiggers and a lot of Beauty and the Beast and a lot of Lady and the Tramp. So, and my grandson loves Jack Skellington. So we have a lot of Jack Skellington pictures too. Yeah. But it's fun. So does anybody have any questions?
If I may revert back to something earlier, you were trying to group the heart and the red lines wouldn't group. Can you give a quick explanation why?
No, I was trying to combine them. I wasn't grouping them. Okay, let's see. We'll go back there. We can go back there real fast.
Well, I don't want to hold everybody to.
They can drink their own beer if they want, if they don't want to play with it. Okay, so if you go here and do this, they will group.
Okay.
So see, they grouped. What I was trying to do was I was trying to use the weld tool and weld all the black pieces together, and there were just too many of them doing weird things, so it didn't work. Sometimes you just have to play with things. Sometimes when you use the weld tool, it sort of works in reverse. So then you have to use the union tool. And the other thing is when you go down here to these two tools down here, it depends on what you. Let's don't do that. Let's do this. It depends on what you click first is to what works.
Yeah.
So if I click this and then, okay, well, first I got to move them together. So if I click this first and then hold control down and click this one and go down here, see how it's a cookie bite out of the bottom of the square.
Uh-huh.
But if I click the circle first and then I click the square and do the same thing, it's the exact opposite. So you have to mind what you're doing. But like I said, your best friend in the whole world is Control Z. It gets you back out of jail every time.
Thank you.
So Alan, you are always doing everything in wood, is that right?
Oh no, God, I burn everything. Literally, Travis knows. I mean, if you can think about burning it, I've tried it once probably. I do ceramic tile. I've done rock. I've done leather.
Light switch covers.
Light switch covers. I put. I had Luke Skywalker. They were Lego shapes. Luke Skywalker on the top left-hand side, and Darth Vader on the bottom right-hand side. So you had the light side and the dark side on the light switch. I made my COVID-19 face masks. We didn't cut any of that out with scissors. all of that stuff, all of those masks that we made, my wife sewed together and I sewed together, I burn them with the laser.
Yeah, you demoed that for us, didn't you, on that tour?
Yeah. So it's on the tour of the shop tour, right at the very beginning. It takes 16 seconds to cut a face mask out.
No, it actually takes about 15 minutes to cut a face mask.
Hey, Alan, John has a question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, Alan, wasn't there a way that you didn't etch metal, but you etched the paint on metal, I want to say. Isn't there a way that you can do that?
So there's two things you can do. You can paint the metal and then etch the paint off. And you can do it both ways. You can do it, you can etch all of the paint off and leave the paint where you want the letters to be, or you can paint the whole surface and etch off the letters. So it's sort of a a negative type thing there, positive, negative. Or you can buy, and we've got some of it in the shop. It's molychromium.
Oh yeah.
Something or other. If you guys want to know what it is, we can look it. I'll look it up. But it's a basically spray lubricant, and you just spray it on the metal, and then you put that metal in the laser and laze it, and then you can go wash the lubricant off. And where that lubricant was that the laser hit, it does something chemically to the metal, and it etches the metal.
Yeah, not a stark contrast, but a contrast.
And it depends on what kind of metal you're using. You cannot use chrome-plated metal. So anything that's because it's chrome just is too hard.
What about aluminum?
Aluminum works perfect.
Yeah, please share that information.
Hang on, I'll go right here. It's right here.
I could wait, but okay.
Oh, it's called here. Can you see my? Here, let's see.
Can you just say the word? I'll put it in the chat box.
Dry Moly Lube, and it's made by CRC. And you can get it. It's a green can. Oh, see right there. I got it at Home Depot, and it just sprays on. I don't know how bad it is for you, but.
So, Alan, another piggyback question to that question. Is there any danger to the laser, like would there be any damage that comes from that? Or is it just like you can't etch metal because it's just a capacity? Like the laser doesn't have the capacity to do it. You know what I mean?
I think it has something to do with the wavelength or something. I don't know. You just can't.
It does, Alan. The infrared, the wavelength we use is only for what is it? Organics.
Organic stuff.
Okay.
So I think if you use
damage the laser though, right? It's just not going to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do. So that's the other thing is doing mirrored. I'm not sure that word. Mirrors. They tell you not to do a mirror and reflect your laser beam back up into your laser. It's not good for the laser. So there's ways to laze mirrors, and what you do is you reverse your letters and you laze from the back.
Right.
So you etch off the mirroring, and then what you do is you can go in and you spray the where you've lazed off the mirrored coating, and then you spray it with a colored paint, black or red or whatever color, and you have red letters in your mirror when you turn it around.
And you start with mirrored acrylic.
Or mirrored glass.
I haven't done that. Okay.
It doesn't matter. You can do mirrored acrylic too. But I just had a piece of mirror. I mean, literally, if I find it laying around,
you'll burn it.
I'll burn it. Tries anything once. Some things probably, I guarantee you, don't ever burn anything that says poly on it. Or poly.
PVC.
PVC.
Vinyl.
Vinyl. What do you call that stuff?
Polycarbonate.
Carbonate, yeah, polycarbonate, and or any of those carbon fiber stuff. Ooh, that's bad juju. It makes some really, it'll make you sick in about a half a second. You'll know as soon as you turn the laser on that you should not be lasing that stuff. It smells that bad. And it burns. The polycarbonate, I had some. It looked to me like it was cast acrylic, and it just didn't have I didn't have a cover on it. So I tried it, and I had to leave the shop for a while and I'll open the doors, and it burned also.
Doesn't it leave a film on the lens of the laser too?
I don't know. I didn't.
You got to clean that up too?
I didn't get that far. I literally started because I always watch my laser when it starts burning, especially when I burn something new. So I want to see how it reacts. I've got my little bottle of squirt water, so if I need it. And I actually squirted the polycarbonate with water because it melted and started burning. And it was really thin too. It was probably 2 millimeter plastic instead of being 3. So the other thing that I'm really careful about now with all the acrylic looking material is when I go pick it up from someplace, I make sure that I can read on there that it's a cast acrylic on the backing some way or another. I don't even trust the guy at Redout anymore. He goes, "Oh yeah, all that stuff out there in the bin is cast acrylic." So that was a lie.
Yeah.
So
No, the MSDS sheet on that dry moly lube is pretty informative too, so we'd have to be careful using that stuff.
I just go spray it out. I take it outside and I wait till it's really hot. I spray it, let it set in the sun, and then I bring it in and use it. And that's what everybody that does anything on, that's what the cheap people
Right.
do it on laser. There's actually some kind of basically the same stuff that's it's made to etch onto metal, but the difference in cost is this is like $8 a can or something, and that other stuff's like $50 a can.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was reading that the reaction to the product when it dries for lasing it.
Hey, Paul, you're looking at a product safety sheet, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
just hear the ventilation fans going.
Yeah. I've got a big ventilation.
Alan, I'd like to test something out on. I've told John Anderson, who has his new Ruida laser, that we as a community would be willing to help him out via questions and email or whatever. Lou has one, Sam has one, Mark has one. There are other people on this call who have them. You have one, Alan. We'd be willing to help him out with emails if he has questions, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Alan, John, don't hesitate, okay?
Hey,
Thank you guys.
I got a question for you.
Appreciate the support.
You bet.
Go ahead, Larry.
This may be a 101 question. Thanks to Travis, I just got my Orter working. And if you can see it, this is what I was starting to work on. I bought some discs to just try around. And I'm having trouble getting the laser to center on the disc. Clearly, it's not powerful enough to cut. So I have to position the image exactly in the center of the disc. How do I do that?
Well, are you watching my screen? Are you using the job origin position here?
Yeah.
And you're having, so I'm still not, I have my little diode laser over there and it's sort of buried right now. So I haven't played with it a whole lot for that, but that's exactly what I'm going to do one day. Is I want to be able to do what you're doing, is cut the stuff out on my bigger laser and use the diode laser just to do some etching with it.
Right.
And I need to figure that center, how to figure it out.
So if I click on the job origin, put it in the center, how do I know that the laser is going to start in the center of my disc? I mean, I can mark the center of the disc, but would I use the fire button to show the laser and show that the job origin is right in the center of my disc?
Hey, Larry, I'd be happy to answer that offline.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about Alan's time here, but we can deal with that. Mine happens to be on loan right now, so it'll be from memory, but I'm pretty sure I can help you out tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know. I still haven't played with mine enough to be anything but dangerous with it. So,
Yeah,
well,
the question that was asked for metal, the CO2 lasers we use at the shop use a 10.64 micrometer wavelength. It requires 1,080 nanometers to cut metal.
okay.
So it's a huge difference.
So, so my little brother went into the laser business. He retired from school teaching, and he's making. Travis, I've got to send you some pictures of this. We'll put them up on the board or something.
Cool.
He's big into the Society of Creative Anachronism, SCA. It's where everybody dresses up like knights in shining armor and beats the crap out of each other with sticks. At least that's what I tell him. But he's making these wooden stamps this is how they used to decorate clothing back in the 1500s or something. They used a black ink and these high relief stamps, and they would stamp the cloth. He bought a Boss laser. It's a 100-watt Boss laser with a oxygen assist on it, and he can cut 18 gauge steel with his CO2 laser.
Oh, that's done because of the oxygen stream that he puts right next to
Yeah.
where the,
So basically, instead of having an oxyacetylene torch, he has a oxy laser port.
Exactly.
And he bought that just for that reason, because he does a lot of, he builds armor for those guys too. So he uses it to cut out the pieces for his armor. But here lately he's been doing these. He uses cherry wood, 6x6 blocks, and then just etches them away. And he does 2 passes on them, and it goes down in about 1/8 of an inch in 2 passes. I don't know how fast he's doing it, but and he's selling every one of those 6x6 blocks for $50 a piece. So,
Any other questions for Alan before we wind up?
Thanks a lot. A lot of good info.
Appreciate it.
all right,
Alan,
thank you.
your next class is 1 week from now, correct?
Yeah, yep. So next Friday, it'll be basically the same thing, but I think we should, if anybody has any more questions, I'll put out a couple of more. I'll find a couple more buttons or something to do, and maybe we'll do a different kind of, we'll do a different wine box or a different exercise or something like that. But everybody bring back their homework for next week. Let's see what everybody can come up with.
This was great, Alan. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Alan.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.